Hello and welcome to another video. I've got some stuff to unbox. Some of it's Minidisc related and some of it isn't. And I'm going to start with this box, and I can't actually remember what this is. I know what the other packages are, but I can't remember what this is. One of the items is not related to Minidiscs, but it is going to give you a bit of a tech tip that I recently learned to my expense. So what have we got in here? Oh, I know what this is. This is a replacement hard disk. One of my customers' computer. Actually, this is related. One of my customers, I'd put in a Kingston 240 gigabyte SSD into his computer to speed it up. And unfortunately, after 14 months, it failed. So after a bit of to and fro with Kingston, which is my favourite brand, they've replaced it. So let's move on to the other thing, which isn't Minidisc related. So in order to replace his hard drive, he's in his 70s and he has some health problems. And at the moment, with the COVID-19 problems, it's not something I was prepared to do in his house. Just wouldn't have been fair to him. I'm fine, but who knows if I've been infected elsewhere. There's a good example of why it's difficult to do videos during our partial lockdown, because there's too much noise from the family. So as I was saying, I didn't want to replace this guy's hard disk in his house, so I picked up his computer and brought it back to my office to do, and I connected up my wireless keyboard and mouse to it and did the repair, installed Windows, and then took it back to him. But what I forgot to do was take out one of these, which is a USB adapter for my wireless keyboard and mouse. So now in his computer he has my adapter and I have my keyboard and mouse, which I can no longer use anymore. And I thought, and that's why I've been using for a long time in my office for my tech support business, I've been using wired keyboards and mice. But it just means you've got wires trailing all over the place, especially if you've got a couple of computers in. So what I thought I'd do is order these, and these are simply, let's open up one. Yep, sorry about the neighbour's dog yapping around. These are simply extension cables for USB sockets. So this is the adapter for my other wireless keyboard, and they get left in the front or the back of the computer if you've taken them somewhere and then you forget to take it out. And what I've done is just bought these extensions, and you plug that in there and that just goes in. So that is another USB plug. Now you're less likely to forget something like that if it's hanging out of a laptop or a desktop. It still does exactly the same job, but you won't forget to take this black thing out the side of their black computer. So that's what I bought those for. So two of those, well worth the money. It's going to save me a lot of hassle. So now if I want to use that keyboard and mouse again, I've got to go back to his house, risk reinfection, or risk infection again, and just to pick up something which I can really do without at the moment. Okay, so on to the next unboxing. Now I know what this is, and I haven't been buying much stuff because obviously business is a bit down because of the world economy and the coronavirus pandemic should I say. But I did treat myself to these because I needed a few extra mini discs, and these are ones that I've never unboxed before. So what this is Japanese, sourced from the UK eBay site, but originally from Japan, TDK MJ Music Jack Colour, 74-minute discs, 2 blues, 2 reds, 2 greens, 2 yellows and 2, I think it's black. So I've got a couple of these Music Jack ones already, but not sealed in a box. So it'd be nice to have a look at the TDK storage box, see how that differs from the others. See if there's any similarities. Now these are probably manufactured in Japan, because I know Japan was a Minidiscs were much popular in Japan, so they probably had their own manufacturing facilities over there. So that's that one done. And now moving on to this one, and this isn't Minidisc related, and that might give you a clue as to what it is. The thing that got me into Minidiscs was the fact that I got my audio cassettes out of the loft and wanted something to play them on, and this was like a few years ago now. So, and I didn't really have a decent cassette player, so I started looking around on eBay for cassettes, you know, Sony Walkmans. Sorry, another edit for the yapping dog. Anyway, long story short, I bought a hi-fi unit with a cassette player on it, and it had a Minidisc player on it, which I'd never seen before, and that's how I got into it. But the other day, I really fancied playing a cassette, and dug out my old cassettes from the 90s, found a Type 2 cassette, which was used but looked in fairly good condition. But what I've noticed is that the early part of all of my cassettes is damaged, probably where it's been in the car all day, stuck in the cassette player in the car in the 90s, and just, you know, it's a really bad environment for them. So I wanted to treat myself to some new cassettes. Now, I've been looking into this. I didn't know back in the day, but I didn't know the difference between Type 1 and Type 2, other than Type 2s were more expensive. So I did actually have some some SA60s, which are Type 2. Let me grab one of those now. Yeah, so back in the 90s or the 80s or the 90s, these were my favourite type of cassette. And this is one I actually recorded the other day. You can't really see it. The tape looks in good condition, but the early part of the tape's not all that good. And this was another one I did. This is Type 2. This is from TDK, and only this version is any good, apparently, for recording on. I'm really a noob on this, but even this, the first part of it is a bit chewed up. So I want to buy some new wrapped ones. And I've managed to find a place online where you can import artwork and get your J card printed up, so I'm quite pleased with that. And I'd already bought these, which I've never owned. These are Sony CDit Type 2 cassettes, and they're quite good. So I've got a couple of these. I'll probably do an unboxing on these if you're interested. And I picked up this pack here, and I thought this is going to see me, because this is going to do me, because I'm not really a massive fan of cassettes. Why would you use a cassette when you've got mini discs? But there's something about the nostalgia factor, and again, the mini discs really is a nostalgia factor as well. But sometimes I just fancy listening to a cassette, but compared to mini discs, the quality is not all that good. So what I thought I'd do is buy myself some good quality cassettes, new, record them on Dolby on my Pioneer hi-fi system, and then I'll have the best quality I can get with the equipment I own. So these are CDit Type 1s, so they're not chrome, but it came as a bundle anyway. And these, I think, I'm not entirely sure, but I've got a funny feeling these were American, for the American market, or these were later than these ones. So these have got a slim case. These have got a slim case, I think, but these have got a slide out case. So I thought, if I've got a couple of those and a couple of those and a couple of those, like I do on the mini disc unboxings, I might do an unwrapping video for those. So if you're interested, let us know in the comments. Oh look, you can see the case through there. So it's actually the cassette is through there, and this is a cutout in the case. So if you're interested, make sure you're subscribed, click the notification icon to make sure you get notifications when I upload, and I'll do a video about those in due course. So that's it, that's what I've treated myself. A couple of cheap cables to stop me losing my dongles, and some Japanese TDK mini discs and some Sony audio cassettes. So thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe and click the notification icon if you want to find out when my next video uploads go up. Thanks very much. Bye.